Welcome to the after party. Welcome to the after party. Did you bring some snacks and treats? I hope you got me something to eat. Welcome to the after party. Coming to the after party. I've been waiting here all day to act like a fool this way. Welcome to the after party. Join us in the after party. Oh, chocolate and gabbing, maybe some microphone grabbing at the after party. Welcome. Oh gosh, I had to get up at the last second there. I had a canned soda over to the side, and I'm like, oh, it's on the other table. Anyway, welcome everyone. Welcome to the stream. I'm trying some new things. Apparently, with StreamYard now, you can do moving background, so I thought I'd try that out to see how it looks. This may or may not be what I use moving forward. Who knows? I have a couple different ones. I have this one, and I have. Let's take a look at the other one. The other one's a little too busy though, which is this one.
Oh yeah.
That's a little too busy. I think it's a little distracting. So we'll go with the chill one.
Yeah.
The chill one for a chill stream. It's a rainy day here in Virginia.
Yeah, I wanted, being an astronomy nerd, I really wanted to see the eclipse, but no go.
Yeah, I woke up today and I looked outside and I'm like, is it just overcast? Nope, it's raining. It's just raining. So anyway, yeah, it's kind of a mess, kind of a lazy day. I was trying to get my energy level up. I'm like, I want to go into this with a lot of energy. And then I'm like, God, but it's raining outside. It's just doesn't give me that same vibe. Here we go. Jordan Arnis is a member for 37 months, says, I like the new background. Well, thank you. It's a work in progress. But, thank you so much and for your continued support, Jordan. To all the bumps that we're going through right now. We have an update on a few things. I want to talk a little bit about the writer's strike. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Marvel and Daredevil, the tracking for the Marvel's movie. We'll talk about that a little bit. We're going to watch the trailer for Invincible Season 2. So that'll be fun. That may not be here on playback. If you're watching this on playback, that might be gone because, copyright's a bitch. So they might have me remove that. So you need to be here live on Saturdays to see that. So it may not be here. What I might do though is I might remove it and then I say I might remove it. If they make me remove it, I might chop it out and then upload it for members only, so they can see it if that happens. Then we're going to talk about Gen V, and we're going to talk about Loki Season 2, Episode 2. Both of the shows this week, I don't think there's going to be a lot of in-depth conversation about it. It just wasn't a lot.
It was just kind of continuing or just continuing where it left off from last
but there was
last episode
stuff that happened. So we'll talk about when we get to it. So Danny says Pagey update. There are no Pagey updates. There are none.
He's just chilling out for now.
Yeah, the last thing that I told you guys about Pagey is all there is. I have a connection, like I can reach out to him if I need to, but I think that kind of goes against the idea of taking a break from the internet. So
it comes back when it comes back.
Yeah. So there's really no updates. I know that's not what people want to hear. I know you guys want to hear more, but there's just not a ton. He decided that he was going to take a break, and who knows how long that's going to be. So no Pagey updates. Hello, South Texas Shark. Good to see you. Hey, everybody. Hell's Bell said, did you hear Wonder Man and Vision Quest are canceled? Is that true? I haven't seen anything official about that. That's one of those things where when we get to the writer strike stuff, we'll talk about like the rumors and all the stuff that's coming out about that. So yeah. Anyway, let me remove the starred comment here, and let's go ahead and we'll start with this writer strike news, and that is that it's over. The writer strike is over. Apparently now everything is in. It's all signed under contract. Everything is done. Writers can go back to work, and they feel very happy about like the deal that they got. And so that's good. That's really good. And however, the actor strike is still happening. Yeah. And that seems to be a big problem. Cal with a 99-cent super chat. Thank you so much for the support, Cal. There was a clip here. Let me see if I can find it now. I think it's on Twitter, aka Shitter. If I can find it.
Such a generic ass name.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see if I can find this clip. It was actually funny. Okay, here it is. Yeah. So I'm gonna try. Let me see if I can make this bigger here. All right. So I don't know if you saw this or not, but there's a clip here. And this is why AI is such a problem. There's a clip here from a movie. I believe it is.
Yeah, I saw that.
What is it called? Chat, what is it? It's like Prom something. It's a prom movie on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I don't like
and we're gonna mute the audio because I think the audio might get flagged. It's a very short clip here. But this back row, this entire back row is AI.
Especially the girl in the yellow shirt. Looks like a straight up
or whatever. Prom pack, that's it. But yeah, so the whole back row is AI. It is very weird. Like, I'm gonna play it here. It's a quick, like I said, it's a really short clip, but it looks so unnatural because it's cheap AI. It's not like
it's not the good AI that people actually take time to put in the correct prompts and everything. But no,
I mean, it's not even like Avatar where they actually go in and properly do like a VFX mapping of a person. Like, this is literally them trying not to pay anybody.
Yeah, it's like I don't have a real big issue with AI, especially with some of the stuff I do. I use a lot of pre-made assets, but
there goes.
Oh man,
look at that! Look how they're moving in the back there.
Looks like a straight up robot.
The whole back row there, that second row. I mean, that's nightmare fuel, honestly. Especially the one right. Look at the one on the far right. Just the
deadpan stares.
Yeah. Look, I think there are ethical ways to use AI. I'm not 100% against AI.
Yeah,
obviously, I've used it for filters and things like that. Look, the reality is, and I know people don't want to hear this, but AI is involved in everything we do on social media now, even if it's not obvious.
The algorithm is a type of AI.
Filters on
AI video games and stuff.
Filters on Instagram are AI. All those are AI. They're all powered by AI. I hate that being the name for it because it's not really.
Yeah, it's not actual AI. It's like a really clever algorithm and things like that. It's a much more complicated, but like actual true AI that people thinking of like Terminator or whatnot. No, we don't have that yet. That's still a few years out.
And I think AI is supplemental stuff. Like what the writers got was great because they can use AI for supplemental things or for structure, but it can't be used to write an entire episode or an entire movie of television.
Even when it comes to just this one YouTuber and this other guy actually watching, he's been on Twitter kind of like I don't agree a lot of with his views of stuff. He kind of goes like on a conservative rant on some stuff, but like when he talks about like historical weapons, that's my go-to. But anyway, he's talking about a lot of AI stuff. While I don't agree with a lot of it, he does bring up some good points where it's like it could be used for like, if you just concepting like something, just concepting some art and whatever, or just have some ideas that you really don't have the money to pay an actual artist or don't have the skill. You just want like a quick, here's what I'm looking for type thing. That's fine. And I agree with that. Now it feels like a huge group and you replace like a couple people with AI, but still hire extras, but then just use AI to kind of like fill in. Say if it's supposed to be like a stadium of like 1,000 people, but you only have like 100 some extras. That's fine.
Yeah. They do look drunk. That's another thing is they look. It looks unnatural to me. But look, let's just be straight up. AI is not going anywhere. There's going to be some form of this in media moving forward. The argument is how it can be ethically used. How can you use it?
It's a tool just like in here. Like a lot of people, the same argument was made for photographs with back when photography was first coming about. Same with computer graphics. And it's using a computer. It's like, oh, that's not actual art. No, it actually is art. It's hard. But it's kind of like, I guess with this, the way it's a bit different because you're not actually doing it yourself. You're just placing I want this, and just being very specific. And then the computer does everything.
So I use Adobe. Adobe has an AI companion now. Search engines use AI. Everything you do use AI. Even with like thumbnails, you can now say, like, you can put in your own clip art, like clip out your stuff, and then go, I need this background, or I need this to look like this. like a day to night shot. Like, for example, if I put in a picture and I go, okay, make this nighttime or whatever, it will do that. And technically that's AI, but something like that isn't stealing from anybody. It's just changing.
It's using either your own picture or a picture you have permission to actually manipulate and all that. And then you're using, change a few things around here and there. That's about it.
I think there's two things that have to happen. First of all, the big thing is that a judge has ruled that you can't copyright AI. So that's a big deal. Right now, AI as it stands right now cannot be copyrighted because there's just no way to tell where those pieces of art came from. So
using so much feeder information from the internet, and a lot of those artists probably did not give them permission to use their art.
I don't think a lot of them did. I mean, like there's been artists that have said that their artwork has been fed into an algorithm, and that algorithm is just taking it. It's just basically taking their art, And I think two things have to happen that would make me feel comfortable going like totally in on seeing the powers of AI, because like I said, I've messed around with it because I do believe that the unfortunate situation is in order to understand how AI functions, you have to try it and see what it does. And so I've played around with it quite a bit within I have apps, like I said, Adobe and a couple other apps that have AI in it. I think there needs to be an attribution like system where if somebody's art is used, they are credited for that art, maybe in like when your picture is made, it says art provided by this person.
Oh, yeah.
And if that happens, I think there should be some sort of compensation for that. The second thing is, I think when it comes to acting, if you're an actor that does not want to be used in AI, you should be able to sign off on that. And if you are an actor that wants to be used in AI, you should be able to sign off on that. I think it should be a consent
with his voice for Darth Vader.
Yeah, I think it should be a consent thing. I don't think people should just take it and run with it without doing that. And for me, those two things seem like no-brainer restrictions on AI in the terms of where it is and where it's going. And so I hope that they can reach some sort of agreement, because I don't want to watch movies with stuff like this. This looks really
it's
bad.
Gonna be like it's gonna be when CGI will start coming out. There was great CGI for the time, and then there's bad CGI. But even the good CGI, but say like back in like the early 2000s, you look at it now, it still looks awful. And it's gonna be the same for this.
Hey Anthony, how are you doing? We do have a this was filmed during COVID, by the way. Yeah, I don't have look, my issue is not with people using VFX and AI. My issue is it ethical the way they've done it? And that's really what it comes down to. Are people being paid for it? Were the actors in those scenes, like, were they real people that they just used for the scene? Or were they mashups of people's faces? Like, I don't know where that came from. You know what I mean? That's why it looks so weird. So Febman Plays says, also with AI, you see the publisher of the God-awful Gollum game made AI apology and said the
developer
wrote it.
The developer. Yeah, it's bad,
man.
That developer, I think that developer actually went under because of that. Like that group just completely broke up or whatever.
I'm not surprised, because I believe that was the first game that they had done like that, right? Wasn't that their first 3D game?
I don't know. It was like even the alpha looked better than what was released, and even still, the alpha looked like a PS2 game.
Right.
It was
so Naruto here, Team Airrick member. Thank you so much, Naruto, with the $5 super chat. Did you hear about Best Buy announcing early? Yeah, I saw this. They're going to abandon Blu-ray and DVD sales.
I'm not surprised. Like, who buys?
I have heard. I don't know if this is true. Okay, but I have heard that some Best Buys had already removed their Blu-ray and DVD sections, and they only had towers with like new releases. You know what I mean? Like when you walk in and there's like a tower there with like movies that came out in the last 6 months. I heard they had gotten rid of all of it, and then it was strictly online sales only. Like you could go to bestbuy.com and order Blu-rays and DVDs, but they were taking them out of their physical stores. I wouldn't be shocked if that was true.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks for people who still want physical media, but hey, I mean. What about the people who still want 8 tracks? So it's like the technology
I'll be honest, I buy probably close to 100%. No. Not that. No, I was gonna say I buy close to 100% of my physical media online. Like I don't go into the stores and buy it typically. The only time that happens is if I happen to be like at a GameStop or somewhere where
last time I went to a freaking Best Buy was when I was piecing together my old computer. I was trying to get a DVD. Not you. I was getting my DVD. I was getting a DVD drive for it, and the person was there just did not want to be bothered. So I was like, "No, yes, but I'm not going back here anymore. I was going to buy everything online."
Well, the problem is that they don't make it the experience of going into these stores has become such a problem.
Would you like to buy a rewards card? No.
Would I mean,
no. I worked
retail. I worked retail up until my mid to late 20s. Before I started my own business, and so I understand like how they function, like at the register, trying to get people to like. I worked at music stores. That was primarily where I worked at. Where it was in music stores. Would you like any blank CDs with that? Would you like any? They're
trying to push. I remember when I was working at a GameStop.
Would you like some Yu-Gi-Oh cards or whatever? Like you'd always try to sell something at the register, and that's an archaic system. It doesn't work anymore.
Pump up sales. I remember I used to work at GameStop. This was years ago, back during like the PS2 era. We always have to sell these shitty baseball games. I'm like, this game is awful. Why do I have to push it's like, who cares if you know about video games? Can you push product?
Yeah. I agree. I think, I don't buy from Walmart, but Amazon is a place where I get a lot of, I'd say I don't buy from Walmart. I have no problems with Walmart. Walmart is the same as all the other companies. I just don't use Walmart very often, but Amazon I do. That's where I buy a lot of my stuff from. And I typically buy collector's editions of things. I don't like to buy individual like Blu-rays and DVDs. I will wait for like a director one to come out, like one with the director's cut on it or something like that. So there we go. Naruto here again with the $2 super chat. I'm a big physical copy guy. There's a lot of people that are.
Yeah. I mean, I still am until I had to move. And I'm probably going to move again, maybe within the next 2 to 3 months or so, depending on how this, if I get hired at this place up in Richmond. So I might be moving again. It's like, are you going
to be working on location or?
Possibly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My brother might, he can pull some strings there. So.
Well, that sounds cool. Yeah. I love physical media. Let me tell you, when I lost internet for like a couple of days,
definitely.
A while back, I was digging through I have a lot of Blu-rays, so I was digging through my Blu-rays and finding stuff that I hadn't watched in forever. So Eric tried not to debate with the customer challenge. Impossible. There we go.
I still have this. Actually, the Battle of 2042 garbage. This was the best one.
Yeah, look, it means the Best Buy will no longer have exclusive Steel Ray Blu-rays. I guess you'll have to buy everything online is the only thing I can think of, pretty much. All right. We're going to watch the Invincible 2 trailer. Let's get through this news about Daredevil first, though. I think this is quite interesting.
I was waiting for this.
Yeah, so here we go. Let's talk about this. Daredevil hits reset button as Marvel overhauls its TV business. Launched during the pandemic with a playbook to shoot $150 million plus seasons with no pilots, the Disney unit is undergoing growing pains and see the logic of traditional TV culture. So I want to point this out. There's a lot of channels out there. Oh, Marvel's dead. Disney's dead. Blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. This is good. This is not bad.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I have to say. I've done a video about this. I've talked about this a little bit on another stream. This is good news because the issue with the shows, the problems that people were having with Marvel TV shows, they recognize that. They're adjusting this based on feedback from us.
Yeah, because it's ever since Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you kind of realize that this is kind of all these shows since then has just been following the same formula. Pretty much since they moved on to this new phase, it's all been following the same type of formula. Yeah. It's like, wow, they haven't been god awful. They haven't been great either.
It says, in late September, Marvel quietly let go of head writers Chris Ord and Matt Corman, also released the directors for the remainder of the season as part of a significant creative reboot of the series. The Hollywood Reporter has learned the studio is now on the hunt for new writers and directors for the project, stars Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. The Daredevil revamp is the latest in a series of growing pains for Marvel Television. Since debuting the Emmy-winning WandaVision in January 2021, the studio, which dominated the film industry in the 2010s, has released more than 50 hours of TV programming after creating a small screen division from the ground up during the pandemic. I want to point out, there was absolutely nothing wrong with Marvel TV prior to Disney+.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is there were a lot of little pocket things with Marvel that I thought were quite charming. I enjoyed the Hulu stuff. I enjoyed the Netflix stuff. I like the stuff on ABC with Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think they had some great TV. The problem was they wanted everything consolidated into like their Marvel packaging. And I think a lot of people also felt the same way. Even myself to a degree thought it would be cool to have everything sort of put together in a package. Yeah. But it's quite clear that what the vision that we had for what they were going to do versus what they were doing. Yeah, it's different because they're treating all of these shows as mini events instead of actual TV shows. And I think a lot of people would agree that some of the shows feel like movies with a long third or long second act, basically.
Even with Falcon and Winter Soldier, though parts of that was really good, but still, it's like you kind of see the formula here and there. I say that was probably one of the last better of the good Marvel shows, and then pretty much from then on, because Hawkeye, I thought was all right. Of course, Cyber Ninja thought it was garbage, which I don't. Yeah. Looking back on, I'm like, yeah, he's kind of right.
Ranges from like okay to garbage for people. I think that's kind of the way they feel about it.
Even some other stuff too. The one with Samuel Jackson,
Secret Invasion. That
was not great.
Okay,
he was good, but
that one in this article they talk about what happened with that, and when you find out what was going on, it totally explains why everything went the way it went. So it goes, even though it remains along with Star Wars titles, the most watched shows on Disney Plus, Marvel series have recently faced a number of creative challenges and cries of diminishing returns from critics and audience metrics, causing a major shift at the studio to move to make TV shows in the more traditional way. And here we go. It says, we're trying to marry the Marvel culture with the traditional television culture, says Brad Winderbaum. What a last name. Marvel's head of streaming, television, animation. It comes down to how can we tell stories in television that honor what's so great about the source material? With Daredevil's new direction, Marvel hopes to right the ship on a project with sky-high expectations. The show is Marvel's first to feature a hero who already had a successful series on Netflix running 3 seasons. And by the way, all of those were good. I mean, they might not be the greatest, but every single one of them was a good season. But sources say that Corman and Ord crafted a legal procedural that did not resemble the Netflix version, known for its action and violence. Cox didn't even show up in costume until the 4th episode. Marvel, after greenlighting the concept, found itself needing to rethink the intention of the show.
Yeah, they need to change that. Because even just looking at this chart, I was like, yeah, Loki was great. WandaVision was great. Falcon Winter Soldier was pretty good. She-Hulk was meh.
Yeah.
Moon Knight was all right. Hawkeye, Secret Invasion, and I actually rather liked What If.
I don't know why Miss Marvel's at the bottom. I actually really like that show.
Yeah, I was like, I haven't seen Miss Marvel, but a lot of people I know say it's really good.
Didn't do better than Secret Invasion is a fucking thing for me. Like I can't even fathom that.
I haven't seen it myself, but a lot of people I know said it was really good.
Ms. Marvel?
Yeah.
Oh, Ms. Marvel for me should be up here closer to the top. I think Ms. Marvel suffers from the fact that it's a character that wasn't promoted properly.
Really
yeah. Anyway, it says Marvel plans to keep some scenes in the episodes, though the serialized elements will be injected, with Corbin and Ord becoming executive producers in the 2-season series. So it's confirmed to be 2 seasons at least. I don't know if they're going to go any further than that, but and it's 18 episodes, so we know it's going to be almost a regular season of TV. Okay, here we go. This is Secret Invasion stuff. So it goes, Daredevil is far from the first Marvel series to undergo drastic behind-the-scenes changes, with those who work in Marvel and the TV side have complained of a lack of central vision that has, according to sources, begun to afflict the studio shows with creative differences and tension. TV is a writer-driven medium. Marvel is a Marvel-driven medium. Exactly. So you've got to find a way to make those two things work. It says, the changes felt most severely on Secret Invasion, the Samuel L. Jackson-led thriller that stands as Marvel's worst-reviewed series. Kyle Bradstreet, a writer and executive producer on USA Emmy Network, Mr. Robot, had been working on the scripts for Secret Invasion for about a year when he was abruptly replaced after Marvel decided on a different direction. So we have no idea what that would have been prior.
It might have been good.
Yeah. Enter a new writer, Brian Tucker, who penned the crime thriller Broken City. Thomas Bezucha, who helmed the thriller Let Him Go, and Alice Selam, who worked on Hulu's 9/11 drama The Looming Tower, were on board as directors to help crack the story. So far, so normal, at least by Marvel's creative development standards. Details are murky, but what happened next is the summer of 2022 debilitated the production as factions became entrenched and leaders vied for supremacy during Secret Invasion's pre-production in London. So this was pre-production. This is before they even really started filming. It was weeks of people not getting along, and it erupted. Marvel declined to directly comment on the matter. Of course they did. The company dispatched Jonathan Schwartz, a senior executive and member of Marvel's creative steering committee, known as the Parliament. That sounds insidious. To get Secret Invasion back on track when it was falling behind schedule and on the verge of losing some actors because of other commitments. By early September, a good portion of the Invasion team had been replaced with new line producers, unit production managers, and assistant directors. So a third round of replacements. And Bezucha, who was supposed to direct 3 episodes, left the show because of new scheduling conflicts. The Marvel executive overseeing the show, Chris Gary, was resigned, and according to sources, is expected to depart Marvel when his contract is up by the end of the year. So it goes on and on. We're not going to spend a lot of time reading the rest of that, but basically what's going on is they recognize there is an issue, and they want to correct that issue by going back to a more TV driven formula for the Marvel shows. That means stories within the shows that don't necessarily have to connect to the movies, writers' rooms, proper showrunners. I'm guessing longer seasons instead of these little like 6-episode seasons.
Because what have we always been complaining about is like this episode needed to be longer. This part needed to be explained more, and now we know why.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna jump through this next one here. Wait, we got a few comments up here. Oh, never mind. We'll get back to those. All right, so let's talk about the Marvels very briefly. So and I want to talk about this in detail because I feel like there's getting a lot of bad press on this one. So the Marvels is the sequel to Captain Marvel, a movie that I think was pretty good. I know a lot of people. So
it wasn't god awful.
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
A couple of things about Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was a perfect storm of everything they wanted to happen with that movie because it made over $1 billion. So it was a massive success for them. It was a film that was positioned in the best possible way because it was between two massive event movies. It also was a character that a lot of people were waiting for. And it was a prequel that was going to introduce or bring back some characters like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters and stuff like that. There was a lot of things happening in that movie that sort of had people buzzing about it. So it ended up making $1 billion. I don't think there was any way possible for the second movie to make more than the first movie. But I think it had the potential to get close to what the first movie was making. So let's talk about the tracking here. It says, according to Box Office Pro, the upcoming MCU sequel is currently tracking to earn between 50 and 75 million in its opening weekend at the domestic box office. If the Marvels comes in at the lower end of projections, the superhero movie would set an unfortunate new record in the MCU for the worst opening weekend ever. The Incredible Hulk currently holds that records with 55.4 million, followed by Ant-Man with 57.2 million. Pre-sale trends are currently 69% behind the pace of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and 42% behind the Eternals. I want to point out the actors are still on strike. The writer's strike just ended. These projects coming out are getting, almost no proper promotion. We're not seeing movies getting promoted properly. There's no movie post Barbie and Oppenheimer that have really broken out of this little this bubble of non-advertising that's happening, because there wasn't a lot of prep time for the writers and the actor strike. So we haven't seen any movies do amazing. And I think this movie suffers from a lot of that because this Marvel movies, it falls into what they call a marketing machine. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They have a certain way they run their press. They have a certain way they advertise their films. They have not been able to do that for this movie. So combine that with a movie that already could have gone either way in terms of like, it could be a close to $1 billion movie. It could be more on the lower end, but not having the actors come out and properly advertise it is pretty much worst case scenario.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say about this one. It's kind of like, especially when the actual actors don't, it's almost like if they don't promote it enough, it's a bad sign. If they promote it way too much, that's also a bad sign. Yeah. So
the thing about it is, worst case scenario is having a follow-up to $1 billion movie where you cannot have the actors promoting it. That is pretty awful. Also, projections are just projections. We have no idea what's really going to happen. Look at what happened with Barbie and Oppenheimer. They went way beyond projections. And I'm not saying this movie is going to, make $1 billion, but I'm saying that these numbers don't really matter until we see how the first weekend goes. And we can look back on them and say that.
That's why I'm not gonna lie. As soon as you start talking about projections, like what they think, how much this is gonna make, my mind just kind of wanders off to something else. Because you just, who knows how? First of all, me personally don't care about how much the movie makes. I don't even know if it's a good movie or not.
Right.
And then it's like, how? Of course, there's like you can make an educated guess on how much a movie is going to make, but you never know until the movie hits the theaters how much it's going to make. And once everything gets raked in for the week, that's when you absolutely. I just don't like a lot of guesswork.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is projections can be absolutely spot on or they can be completely wrong, which means that looking at them doesn't serve much purpose.
Yeah,
By the way,
there's no point.
I want to point this out. As fans, we probably should not be obsessed with projection numbers.
Yeah,
because
like I said, once you start talking about numbers, I don't
people
care.
that finance the film and the studios. It don't really matter to anybody else.
Yeah, I don't give a damn. It's like, is the movie good? Good. If the movie's bad, good.
That's the way I always am. Like, I don't mind talking about the numbers. I think some people are fascinated with the numbers. But for me, I've loved a lot of movies that have underperformed. And I don't think we should judge our personal interest on a movie on whether or not it performs the way the investors think it should perform or the analysts think it should perform. I think that's a really bad way to go into a movie thinking, this movie needs to make 500 million. You know, I'm not a market analyst. I'm not sitting here trying to crunch numbers. We can talk about them. I don't have an issue with that. But same thing with like Rotten Tomatoes. Now that Rotten Tomatoes has been proven to be untrustworthy, I don't see why people are even still talking about the Rotten Tomatoes scores.
Yeah, I'll see it as like a gauge or whatever. But like even when it comes to Castlevania Nocturne, 100% critical acclaim. Like it was like 100% fresh according to critics. 40-some% audience. Why? Because of racist ass motherfuckers who like black characters.
But even so, I think it's already been put out there that Rotten Tomatoes now people are getting paid for reviews and stuff. So
yeah, I'm not surprised.
I don't think that we should like if you want to look at Rotten Tomatoes and go, okay, I'm just going to look at this for fun, or
like a gauge. Like, hey, I heard a lot of people say it's kind of bad. I don't know.
What I would suggest, if you're going to use Rotten Tomatoes for anything, and something that I think it is good for, is tracking down actual reviews. Like if you go into like the section where they use the quotes from the critics, you can click on that and it will take you to their full review. I think that's more important than just the Rotten Tomatoes score. Nobody. That's the issue. That's why people fight against the whole Rotten Tomatoes.
The only people who do that are complete movie nerds, and I'm a nerd, but I ain't that type of nerd.
Yeah, it's a bit much. I really don't think Rotten Tomatoes should be used as a metric for anything, but people put it in thumbnails and do all kinds of stuff, and it's really
see, this movie's bad because it's woke. Like, shut up.
Yeah, they're like, that's the only reason why. Sure, I believe you 100%. Hey, Donna Dragon, how are you doing? Good to see you.
Hey.
I did not see the
Omni-Man
trailer. What did you think of it?
Look, I really haven't played Mortal Kombat hardcore since UMK3 back on the Genesis, but I did play a little bit of MK11. All reason I haven't really got into it because it's on I got on the PlayStation 4 and I just don't touch the thing. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Invincible. Well, recently, not of the comics, but I'm starting to read.
The show is amazing. I can't wait.
The show is great.
We're about to watch the trailer, by the way. We're about to watch the trailer.
Yeah, because in this one is going to have Omni-Man and Homelander. They haven't released Homelander yet. I mean, they announced he's going to be in it, but
so all these like fictional battles between Homelander and Omni-Man, now you can
actually play out.
Right.
Homelander's going to get his ass beat. Hey, look, because I was just on TikTok. Somebody showed a picture of Homelander beating up like the Justice League. He was like, "What kind of buffoonery is this?" It was like, "Look, this is a dope picture," but he would get his ass beat. He would get beat. He was just kind of pointing out who would beat Homelander's ass.
By the way, the fact that DC turned down a Mortal Kombat versus DC movie, did you see that?
Oh, what are you doing, WB?
They turned that down.
Oh, what are you doing?
Is fucking wild to me.
Because honestly, NetherRealm is like the best thing Warner Brothers has even done.
Yeah, why would they turn that down? I don't know. I feel like that could have been a perfect tie-in to the games too.
Because there was a DC versus an MK back in the day. I want to say, like, what was that, 90? Not 98. No, it was earlier. I want to say 20. I want to say like 07, 010, like 07, 2010 maybe. But anyway, yeah. As much as I like Homelander, no, he's gonna get his ass beat.
So we're gonna watch this trailer, but if you are watching this on playback, just know that this segment may not be here.
Yeah, that's the thing with a lot of trailers.
If the YouTube gods smite the video and block it because of this trailer,
a lot of the people I watch trailers, what they all like, oh wait, I had to take this down, or they, like with Angry Joe, he'll put like a whole bunch of like overlays over it.
This is a good lesson that you need to be here with us on Saturday Live, because I may start watching more trailers and just know that these may disappear on playback. So
if I ain't doing nothing.
You have been warned. All right, so this is the trailer. I actually haven't watched this trailer yet, so I haven't seen this. This is basically a reaction to it. So let's do this. Ooh, and we haven't even met the worst ones yet. There's some that are really bad. There's one in particular that I don't know if they're going to show up this season or not, but Yeah. Anyway. Oh my gosh, we're doing the Invincible multiverse. This is
because that's what is later on, which we'll see in the you'll see later in the trailer. I'm like, maybe this is a mark from one of those universes.
I did not know, because I know in the comics there's a long storyline about this, so I didn't know that the series was going to 100% dive into this.
I know. Okay, when it came to comics, I know like about the beginning, which we got in the show, a little bit of the middle.
No, it gets into the whole multiverse thing, especially with Adam Eve. There's a lot of stuff about that. So, all right, so let's pull that down. There's a lot of music in that, so it's probably going to get removed. We'll see how long it stays up. But anyway, I'm looking forward to that. That trailer looked fucking amazing. If you have not watched Invincible on Prime, go check it out. It is one of the best animated superhero shows I've ever seen. I feel like we're heading into a really good spot where we're having a lot of content now, but there's going to be a big gap next year with all this stuff going on. So, but yeah, so I'm really excited. Yeah, November 3rd is close, and you know, we'll probably talk about it over here on the after party each week.
I'm definitely gonna watch it
because we'll be watching it. So I'm really excited about that. All right, so let us talk about Loki season 2, episode 2. I think it's titled Variant. I think that's the title of the episode.
I forgot. So. I don't look at any of these titles. I just watch the show.
Yeah. So I like this episode. I don't think it was as good as the first episode.
Yeah, it was fine. It was setting up some things, kind of explaining what was happening, and kind of explaining and continuing what was happening from the last episode. Yeah. So yeah, it was a little bit lower than the last one.
So we have a few things in there that are kind of Easter eggy. Mm-hmm. One of the things. Oh wait, we've got a super chat from Naruto here. They actually did the Omni-Man subway scene as a fatality.
Yeah. Wait, you know the part in Omni-Man. Wait, it was in Mortal Kombat trailer.
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat Omni-Man trailer. He actually grabs. I think it was Sub-Zero, not Sub-Zero. Either Scorpion or Liu Kang.
Right.
He just grabs him and just holds him up, and the subway's just coming at him, and just does this whole scene from Invincible.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was cool. Yeah, all of his X-ray moves are from the show. Mm-hmm. He even
this makes sense.
Spine.
Breaking Brad does make sense. Okay. Yeah, I saw 2 different things floating around. I'm like, I don't know which one's the title. Anyway, so Loki season 2, episode 2. I made a joke about product placement because there's a lot of McDonald's in this episode. Which oddly enough, I wasn't older when that style of McDonald's was around, but I was
like a baby. Well, yeah, it was in 82. I was born in 82. So yeah, however, by the time I start to remember things, that style was starting to be on its way out.
Yeah, I mean, however, that is what McDonald's looked like in the 80s. Like that's essentially it. I mean, we talked about it when we were watching it here, how when we were younger, at least for me, McDonald's was a reward for doing good. Like if you did, like if you got straight A's in school or something, it wasn't something where you just get on Uber Eats and order McDonald's whenever you want. Like it was something you got as a reward as a kid. And if you were really good, you got to go in and play in the playground, and you got to have like when the soft serve ice cream machine worked regularly, you get your little ice cream on.
God, I remember like around Halloween, you always get the little coupons.
Oh, you paused. You lagged for a second.
Oh, that's my internet goes in and out. But anyway, I was about to say is like, remember when I was like in elementary school, just like around this time of Halloween at school, you get the little coupons for like free fries or free ice cream, whatever. Oh, God, that was so good.
It was so much fun. So that was nostalgic for me. But I was like, there's a lot of McDonald's in this. It was like
some people saying like is he a product? I'm like, a lot of movies do this. Like even with Transformers, like how it have like just GMC Autos logo
right. You know what it reminded me of? Did you see the most recent Power Rangers movie?
No, I heard about the whole Krispy Kreme thing.
The Krispy Kreme was not only
I remember you mentioned it. It was like someone else mentioned it too. I can't remember.
Yeah, not only was that like they had product placement, the entire final battle took place around a Krispy Kreme. So, like this is reminding me a lot of that. Not to have an issue with it. It was more tongue in cheek.
Yeah, as long as they don't do this constantly, like next episode they have like a Hardee's or some BS like that. Or
yeah.
As long as it's like just one episode, it's like okay, McDonald's. I mean, because McDonald's is everyone knows McDonald's.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's how she likes, especially just going on how Sylvie probably just wanted just a regular life, not with all this extra shit, just a regular life.
I mean, it doesn't get more regular than ringing up people at a McDonald's.
Working at fast food.
Pretty much as regular as it gets. Mm-hmm. But before we get to that, we had the beginning where you see Mobius and Loki chasing down Zaniac or Brad.
Yeah, I actually had to look that dude up. I was like, why do they keep saying Zaniac? Who the hell is Zaniac? Because I do this constantly, even when I'm watching like Deep Space Nine for like the 80th time. I'll still go on like Memory Alpha and Star Trek and start looking up random stuff.
Yeah.
So I actually had to look him up. I was like, oh,
yeah. So that's a deep cut.
Some weird zombie guy who's like an alien parasite.
Yep, the deal.
I don't think they're going to go with that angle on this, but that's probably just a
the 19th century and the dark dimension and all this. I don't think they're going to do that storyline.
But it was one that's like, I've never heard of half of these characters. Oh, they're in Thor comics. I never read Thor.
Yeah, it's a nice Easter egg for everybody. I mean, if you're a huge Thor fan, you probably were freaking out about that. But anyway, so we have him there, and they're chasing him down because they think that he might know where Sylvie is. And while that's happening, we also have the TVA basically looking for Renslayer because they need to find out where Renslayer is. And little do we know, we're also going to be looking for rogue TVA agents who believe that they should continue pruning the timelines as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like chasing going on in this episode. And I really enjoyed basically seeing Mobius and Loki get some time together. There's a lot of moments in this week's episode where they're talking about things and kind of moving the storyline along between the two of them. And I saw people complaining about it. Did you have an issue with in a lot of the, because it was a very talky episode. There was a lot of interrogation and dialogue. Did you have any issues?
You kind of need some of those episodes to kind of just explain things or either have the character either get information or kind of move the plot along. So you don't want action all the time. And then next thing you know, it's like, well, how did they figure this out? And it's like, you don't want them to just instantly know. It's like, this is how they come to know what they need to know to move the plot along. So yeah, I don't as long as it's not long or anything like that, I like these.
I also don't think a lot of people paid attention. Season 1 wasn't like an action heavy series either. Season 1, there were entire episodes where there was no combat at all. So yeah, I mean, Loki in terms of the Marvel shows is the least of my concern in terms of quality. I think we know what we're getting to sign up for.
He Who Remains, all that was just talking.
Yeah, and that was some of the best stuff we had.
Yeah.
I actually think Loki's strong point isn't combat. Loki's not a fighting. I mean, he can fight, but he's not a fighting character.
Saw that.
He's a magic user. He's a trickster. He's mischievous. That's what he does.
Yeah, I don't even think he even threw a one single punch. It was probably his shadow clones or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, which by the way, cool scene. We got to see him using his illusion magic on Brad, and we got the shadow Lokis with the horns and everything. I thought that was amazing. Finally getting to see him, because when he's in the TVA, obviously he's not using that.
He can't do anything. So yeah, just get some chance to just let loose.
Yeah, it was great. And then Mobius talking to the wrong Loki was classic. Like he was talking to one of the illusions.
He's talking to one, he just walks up behind him, was like,
yeah. And then we get that interrogation scene where they end up like boxing him into like a force field box. Yeah. That was a little like Saw-esque to me. I was like, how far are we going to go with this?
I was like, knowing Loki, he's not gonna kill him. He's not gonna go too far. I mean, he's capable, but he's like, no. He's just gonna scare him a bit.
No, I thought that was great. And him finally cracking under the pressure and talking about where Sylvie was and kind of spilling all the beans on it, but also holding back a little bit because he didn't tell them everything, which I thought was quite interesting. And it just goes to show that he's a character that we may see play into that later on. So
just some Twitch notifications.
And then we get Sylvie back in the fold, and we have her with this rogue agent, and they have to track down these TVA people that kind of broke off and decided to prune timelines. And we've already established at this point that there's ethical issues with this because the timelines are worlds with people in them. They're not, they shouldn't be pruned because you're not preserving anything anymore. That was something that He Who Remains wanted. It's the one timeline that he was in charge of, which is why the TVA exists in the first place.
Yeah.
So there's an ethical issue with that. And I don't know if they've totally address that in the way that I think that we're going to get throughout the season. I think we're going to hear even more in terms of the ethical implications of destroying and pruning timelines, because look at how many they've done. I mean, OB has been around for thousands of years. So they've been doing this for a really long time.
And I'm thinking during the whole time war, whatever, This is probably exactly what happened the last time, and that's why he who remains was like, well, either you kill me now and I'll see you again later, or you can take over and keep it as it is.
So you think the TVA had existed prior to the Time Wars, and this was what went down, or multiple TVAs? Do you think there was more than one? Or
no, I think he ended up establishing it after those Time Wars, and I don't know. It's especially when it comes to time, because it might have existed all along. I don't know. It's weird because basically what I'm trying to say is that maybe like this whole pruning of the timelines and everything. This probably happened before. Not this exact. How can I say? It's not this exact event, but something similar to it in the past, and that's why we got the current sacred timeline. But now that everything is branching back out again, they're going to do what they did before. They get it back to the previous timeline. Because he probably to actually establish the TVA, you probably have to prune all of those rest of those timelines, get it to this one timeline, and then establish the TVA to make sure that this stays. And now that they're branching out again, you probably have to do that all over again.
So my question, I got a couple of questions. This gets a little tiny wimey, so try and stick with me on this one.
That's why I love Loki.
Okay.
I love the series.
First and foremost, we don't know if He Who Remains is the Kang from the Sacred Timeline. We don't know that. That could be a Kang from another timeline.
Yeah, he's probably just say, okay, yeah, this will work. Let's just stick with this one.
Which makes me wonder if the Kang that created the TVA is not He Who Remains. He was just the one that took over.
Just the one who remains.
Right. Because I feel like the Kang that they show on the walls and the statue and everything, that's a more comic book-esque Kang in the way he looks, whereas He Who Remains did not look like that. His style was completely different from that. So it makes me wonder if he was the one that won, but he wasn't the one that created.
Yeah, he's just one who just took over. But one thing I always also noticed that on all those statues of Kang, there's always three of them, one facing forward, the other facing the sides, kind of like the Living Tribunal, which we always thought it was the Living Tribunal, but no. Maybe that's Ramatut, Immortus, and Crimson. What's the thingy? I forgot. It's Crimson something or other. I can't remember.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But that brings in that question about whether or not He Who Remains was even the creator of the Sacred Timeline. I don't know if he was or not. I'm under the impression that he wasn't, because he did a job of, he tried to cover up everything and he tried to create this council, the timekeepers and all of that. I feel like that might have been his ruse to hide the fact that Kang had anything to do with it, because he was sitting at the end of time. He had nothing.
He's probably just making sure everything is running as the way they should through those through that council as a proxy.
I don't even think it was the council. I think it was Miss Minutes. I think she was the one like bridging the gap between everything. Because we know that now she had something to do with it. Her AI is basically a
Centurion. That's his name. Couldn't remember.
So Miss Minutes obviously works for him. Then we have Renslayer, who now also was working for. So this has been around for a while. And Renslayer, she might actually know.
She probably knows everything that's going on. It's like, well, I'm out of here.
Yeah. So there's a possibility that she knows a lot more than what's even being led on to. So it's a lot of questions. Secondly is, where is Kang in the actual timeline? Because the Kang from the Sacred Timeline has to exist somewhere in time, right? I mean, because even if He Remains is the one, he was at the end of time when he was killed, meaning there is a point in time where he was out in the real world. So I wonder if we're going to talk about that this season, if that's going to be something that we end up going through, because
I hope, to me, that's at least the end of the season. Yeah, we might see something. I hope so. I don't know.
Right. So we have them stop the rogue TVA agents. They get back to the TVA. OB is trying to fix the loom, because clearly it's going to be a problem. It's going to grow exponentially and explode probably. And so he's trying to fix that. And I don't think he's going to be successful, because we saw in the future when Loki jumped ahead in episode 1 in time that they had to evacuate the TVA.
Yeah.
So I think we might lose the TVA this season, or at least part of it. It might explode and create some weird pocket dimension or something like that. I feel like we're going somewhere with some sort of explosion. And the other thing is, where does the TVA exist really? We know that the end of time is a thing, but the TVA itself is in a pocket dimension where time doesn't move.
I always assumed it was probably in the quantum realm, because
that's what a lot of people think. They're all tiny, like they're all in the quantum realm.
The Infinity Stones don't work in the quantum realm, and they don't work in the TVA either.
Right.
That's pretty much it. Possibly it could be just in some weird pocket dimension where just the Infinity Stones just don't
Well,
work.
powers don't work either.
Mhm.
Like they still, like, if they're, I think Asgardians are still physically Asgardians, but I think their magic and their powers or whatever doesn't work.
The ability to manipulate whatever is just not there
Right.
because whatever they're manipulating doesn't exist there or something. Who knows?
Yeah, so it says here, I assume that He Remains just kept pruning the timeline so it just stays the Sacred Singular timeline. So there's no more King Wars, so there's only one from the Sacred Timeline and him. Yeah. Right, but I'm trying to figure out if he was that one or if he was one from another timeline that just sort of took over, like overthrew the people that live there. I assume the TVA's in the quantum realm, it just makes the most sense. It does. Yeah, 100%. Isn't it like the vanishing point in DC? It exists outside of space and time, so I assume it's a weird pocket dimension. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well, most likely. So anyway, though, we see Sylvie return back and go, you guys fuck things up. You don't know what the hell you're doing. You guys are the problem. You're not the solution. You're not protecting anything. And as we see, like, timelines just vanish. Not all of them, but some of them start to vanish off of the sacred timeline.
Like literally just explode like they're playing freaking Missile Command with Atari.
And so she decides to go back to, apparently her timeline wasn't one that was pruned, so it's still there. So she goes back, or she found one that's similar to the one that she was in. And she has the special time bangle from He Who Remains that she's toying with at the end of that episode. And so she's sitting on the truck and she's got that bangle in her hand and she's kind of toying with it. So that's his bangle. So I don't know if that's like a super bangle, like it can do anything, or what the actual, because obviously they have versions of that the TVA has, but I'm assuming that his version does a lot more. So that's kind of where we left off. And we have no idea what Sylvie's intentions are at this point because with that bangle, we don't know what level of power she has now. And we don't know what's going to happen with OB and the rest of them. So I don't know.
Well, they did apprehend that one judge who was actually just bombing the rest of those timelines.
Yeah, they have them, but I don't know how long that's going to last. Like, we don't know if they're going to
probably break free and start bombing even more.
So I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was a good episode. I still think the first episode was better, but I'm glad that Sylvie isn't on the run, because my biggest concern after watching the first episode was we're going to be chasing Sylvie for the whole season. And we might still have to chase her, but at the very least, we know that she's not just out there somewhere, that she's,
she's not the main thing. We have to go get her. But it's like, no, we got other fish to fry over here.
And we know that she ends up back at the TVA at some point because Loki jumped ahead in time. So we know that's the case. So I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was really good. Again, Loki continues to be a high quality Marvel show.
Science fiction shows, I guess you could call it science fiction, that actually does time travel right.
Yeah. So I'm pretty happy about that. All right, let's move on to our next topic, which is the Gen V episode. And this one was interesting because last week we had they woke up somewhere with no recollection of what had happened with them. Like, they didn't know anything. We just didn't know what the extent of that was. And they wake up in someone's house. Dusty, I think, was the guy's name that has the frat house, it looked like. By the way,
why is everyone on this show some sort of weird perverted freak?
I was gonna say, yeah. So in this house, there's all kinds of stuff going on. We have people doing some kind of drugs in a room and using their powers, like blowing fire and stuff like that. So we see that. Obviously, there's some sex that had been happening because all the rooms look like brothel rooms. But then when Andre wakes up, there's this puddle like on the ceiling, and I'm like, is that water? We were trying to figure out what it was because it kept dripping. And then he goes upstairs, and as they're walking through the hallways, they come into this room where they're having some sort of, like, I don't even know if it was sex or what it was, but there was something going on, and she has a hole. It was a hole.
Yeah, I think she's a dolphin. I think she's part dolphin. Dude was just vibrating her hand, vibrating his hand, and, just going down there. And when she came, it just
got you.
I guess probably just blew. I think she's a dolphin. I have no idea. I'm just guessing. That's something that's my only guess. I guess she's similar to the D. I don't know.
So
Oh yeah,
weird.
and then there was the goat with the dude, the invisible dude with the gag, with the ball
With a
gag
llama.
and
It
the
was like a
mask, and
llama, I
just
think.
clawing him behind.
Yeah.
And I think, and later on we see the same goat that's walking past the school. I'm like, that goat's a person.
I was gonna say I think it's a shapeshifter.
Yeah,
I think it might be a shapeshifter or something like
why
that.
is everyone on this show just some sort of either drugged out freak, a complete pervert, or just mentally?
I think this show took the idea of we're gonna do a show how real people would react in the world with powers and like
just
kicked it up. Yeah,
because once again, my favorite characters are the only people who are normal. Because in The Boys, it was Starlight, because she was the only one who was a normal goddamn person, and in this one, it's Marie and Emma, because they're the only ones who are just normal people.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Defunct? How are you? So yeah, Sloane, and I'm pretty sure she's a llama. She is a llama. Yes, that is.
Yeah, he was like,
I couldn't remember her name.
I just know it. I was like, that's a person.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of wild. We have that whole situation going on, and they find out through like collectively talking to each other that someone made them forget, and they don't know why. And I'm trying to remember the order of events here. We also have Sam show up when Emma and Marie are kind of chilling, hanging out, and they don't know who he is at all. They have no recollection
that's why I was like,
he is.
Yeah, somebody mind wiped them.
And
even he just caught on right away. It's like right then it's like, oh, they wiped your mind again.
And of course we think of Rufus, who we know had his dick blown up by Marie, so he's got a grudge.
He deserved
and
it.
So he wants to exact revenge. So so they have that happening, and that felt like the obvious answer, right? For the most of the episode. We'll get to why that wasn't the case, but so that sets up the episode. They've got to find Rufus and figure out what's going on and why he did what he did and all of these things. And Sam is like, "Oh, they wiped your memory," because he says they. So he knows this has happened before, and believe it or not, he knows who did it, which is why he runs away and gets out of there or whatever. So then we have them sort of having just conversations about their life and things that have gone on with them. And we have the whole thing with Jordan and Marie and how awkward that is in that situation. And, that is one of those things where, we've talked about when you're watching a show and you don't totally know how to relate to a situation. That is one where I don't know how you would relate to that. Like someone that can literally change from male to female. I
actually think they have like the most interesting powers, because especially once they change from one gender to the other, their power set changes. Actually their power set very interesting to me.
So I think that's pretty cool that we're kind of diving into that. I think that's really interesting. Then we get what I think is one of the greatest scenes I've ever seen on television, which is Sam as a Muppet. Just eviscerated.
Yeah, it's just like Black Noirs. It's just like Black Noirs when he has that cartoon hallucination.
Because we didn't have a lot of gore this week. There wasn't a lot of gory stuff happening.
Nope, the gore was in puppet form.
But can you imagine? I think they wanted us to imagine that scene with
I think that was
real people versus puppets. I'm going to say this right now. I think you're going to need someone at the level of like Soldier Boy or Homelander to stop Sam.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's going to take one of those two characters. I don't see any other way.
Or someone who can really get into his head, because he's already mentally unstable. But so if you just exacerbate that, it's probably going to break him.
He's way too powerful. I mean, we're talking about someone who can literally rip people in half.
Shove dude's hand in his mouth.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn.
Yeah, so the brain bit made me grateful the whole scene was in puppet form. Yeah, Muppet fight scenes, that's going to become the new normal. Muppet violence was brilliant. Yeah, I thought it was great. But we still don't know for sure if what Sam is experiencing is some sort of trauma due to what he's gone through, or if it's actually something that Vought did to him. What do you think? Do you think it's more of like
it could be either way, honestly.
I mean, at this point, it could be a super affecting him, or it could be trauma. Not totally sure. And a lot of people, I saw people saying, why don't they just get Homelander to come in and take care of this? I don't think Vought wants I don't think that the Woods wants Vought to know that exists, because now we know.
Yeah, once Vaught's HQ gets a hold of it, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck are y'all doing?"
Well, no, I mean, we also found out in this episode that they're trying to control supers. That's the whole point of what they're doing in the Woods is finding a way to control supers.
Ooh, and if Homelander actually finds out, it's like, "Oh, y'all trying to do what? I laser everybody."
Exactly. And honestly, even with all the stuff they have down there, I don't think they're prepared for Homelander to come in.
Just these are a bunch of these are a bunch of barely adults. These are like college age kids. No, they're gonna fight. Homelander? Hell no.
So I have a theory. I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I have a theory that not only are they trying to control supers, but Sam is their key to stopping Homelander. Because he's a really powerful super.
Yeah, actually Black Noir is supposed and he has a similar thing going on like Black Noir, because it's Muppets instead of a cartoon.
Yep, it's very similar.
Dead at this point, so maybe he's their contingency. Who knows?
Maybe they plan on making him the next Black
maybe they
Noir.
Kind of change it up for the comics a bit.
Yeah,
because in the comics, Black Noir is literally just a clone of Homelander, except he doesn't have eye lasers and can't fly.
Yes, so I think that Sam is a contingency plan. Because if they can control supers, I see what question you're going to answer. We'll do that in a second. I think if they can control supers, they could control Sam. I think, this is me doing puzzle. This is like a Marvel, theory crafting here. I think
you need the chalkboard back there with all the lines pointing.
Yes, I think that the Muppet thing that he is seeing in his head is part of a program they were using to control supers. And he was one of the first people they tried it on, and it did not work.
Who, Black Noir or Sam?
No, Sam.
Sam, okay.
I think Sam was a test run. Like, if we use this method, we can make him do what he wants or what we want. However, they found out that doesn't work, and they've been trying to fix that for a while, and they've kept Sam locked up for this reason. And they've been experimenting on him. He's been their guinea pig for trying to figure out how to control supers. And he is so powerful that if they can get him to do what they want, then that's a massive win for them because they have their own Homelander, basically. So I think that's what's going on. I could be completely wrong on that one, but I think that's what's happening. This is the question I think you wanted to talk about. So what are your thoughts on this?
I think, Vought HQ knows about the Woods and they know what they're doing. They're like, this is some tricky shit. We have other ways we could control them. What you're trying to do is it's kind of above and beyond what we want to do, but if it works, great. If it doesn't, you're on your own. If the supes come after you when they know it, you're on your own. We have nothing to do with it. It's like plausible deniability. We had nothing to do with it, because especially Ashley, like, I didn't know anything about it. I want
to point out they addressed this. Okay, let me remind everybody when they addressed this. When Ashley spoke to her on the phone, she walked away from the board of directors of Vought and was very quiet on the telephone. So Ashley knows, but Vought does not.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Because she
did not Ashley's probably like, because especially Ashley has Homelander breathing down her ass.
She said yes or no. That's what she said when she talked to her on the phone. So Ashley knows, but I don't think Vaught's
board of directors know. It's probably something Ashley's probably like, oh, yeah, do this. But this shouldn't get out.
Right. I think that's where we're going with that. By the way, is it weird that his name is Rufus and he basically roofies
he basically roofies people with
I thought about that today. I was like, wait a minute, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
But getting back to that, Rufus was not behind all of this.
Nope.
He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's an assaulter, he's a garbage human being, but he wasn't the one erasing their memories. It was Kate
the whole time.
And Kate has been working with them. So this is not her doing it on her own. This is something that they have been orchestrating with her for a while.
He probably
and Sam knew about it, which is why he said to Kate last week when they were in the house, stay away from me. Don't touch me, kind of thing. He knows what she's been doing because she was doing it to Golden Boy.
Yep.
To Luke.
Holy shit! I just realized this every time especially Sam Price found Luke, is like, "Hey, Luke, it's me, it's Sam," and Kate was probably right there the whole time. It's like, it's not him. Let's forget about it, or let's go back to our dorm room and bang or whatever. And that was the end of that.
Also, another theory Okay, just throw this out there. Two things here. One is it possible that the reason why Luke killed Brink is because Brink he found out that Kate was doing that to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to kill Brink because he thought Brink was the one pulling all the strings. And he might have been before he died. He might have been one of the people pulling all the strings, doing all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, is the other option is that they wanted to kill Brink, so they had Kate make Luke kill him. And that's why Luke ended up committing unaliving. We won't say the other word. He unalived himself in the episode because I know he did that because he knew there was no way out because of everything that Kate has been doing and everything that been going on at God U. I think either one of those are possibilities. Either way, Luke knew. I think Luke found out. I think he was very aware of what was going on, at least at the end before everything happened.
Yeah,
with Brink, because if you think about it, he kind of, he was going off the deep end a little bit. And also I want to point out that Luke was hearing stuff as well. This is why I think what was going on with Sam may have been something that was also going on with Luke. Because Luke was hearing things and seeing things. Remember? Like he kept seeing his brother as a young kid and the woods and all of that. Those were things that Luke was experiencing before he killed Brink. So I feel like there has to be something. I think there was something like I think Sam was the contingency plan for Homelander, but I think they had every intention of Luke being their controlled leader of the Seven at some point.
Mm.
That's what I think personally.
Yeah, especially once they do through whatever means, Golden Boy takes over. They already have a puppet right there in the Seven.
Well, think about it. This is the perfect thing to happen here. So you have Golden Boy set up to take over the Seven, already being manipulated by Kate and the people in the woods, one way or another. Homelander is off the rails. We know Vought doesn't like Homelander. He's just, they keep him around because he makes good numbers for them and all that. Sam is a character that isn't known to the world, is arguably as powerful as Homelander, more vicious than Homelander in a lot of ways, and is getting controlled by the woods, which is unknown to people. They could easily have Sam kill Homelander and literally have Golden Boy take over the Seven. I think that was the intention. I think they wanted Sam to kill Homelander and then Golden Boy take over for the Seven.
Yeah, I would not disagree.
I think that was the intention of the woods all along, but we'll have to wait and see where it goes. I feel like that's a really, really cool way to handle it because it's plausible deniability for them, especially since somebody knows about it.
Yeah, she definitely had doubts and guilt because even she was crying the whole time. It's like, I am so sorry. She was being forced to wipe all of their memories or just tell them to either forget or do something else.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But Naruto here has a $5 super chat. The more I see of Kate, the more I'm reminding of Rumor from Umbrella Academy. You never watched Umbrella Academy, did you?
Nah.
So Rumor is basically when she says, I heard a rumor, and she whispers it to you, the rumor that she whispers to you is a command. So like if I said, I heard a rumor that you jumped off the bridge, then you would go do it. That's how her powers worked. So Kate is very similar because Kate is like a combination of that and Rogue, because Rogue steals powers by touching people. Rumor can tell people to do things. So it's kind of a combination of the
combination between the two
powers. There's almost no world where Kate's powers are not evil. That just feels like it's a power that
it's
like, always going to be manipulated.
Oh yeah, similar to Purple Man, which Rufus is also similar to Purple Man. It's like, that guy could potentially take over the entire world if he wasn't just a pervert.
Yeah. So Hell says, why did Kate go along with Andre's whole investigation about Sam the Woods instead of telling him to stop? Do you think she had doubts or guilt? I think that the school was aware of a lot of it already. And I think that they allowed certain parts of it to move forward. However, I think Kate was in a position where if she did not go along with them, it would have blown her cover. She has to be tight with them.
She went along with it for as long as she needed. And then once they got too close, that's when the mind wiping started.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I think that we know that is the situation. And it's quite possible they wanted Sam to get out. It's quite possible they wanted him to get out so he does go after Homelander. That's a possibility. I wouldn't put it past them to do something like that. And let's see, what do we got here? pretty much, I think that's kind of where everything sort of wraps up in the episode. Is that we let's see, I've got my notes here. Yeah, so basically when Andre finds out at the end of the episode, after going after Rufus, that Kate was the one responsible for everything, he calls her a fucking monster. And then we cut to the credits. And that's kind of where we leave everything. I don't know how to feel about Kate, because I don't know how much of a willing participant she was in all of this and how much of it was manipulation. Do you have any theories or thoughts on that at all? Or
not really. I don't exactly. I thought she kind of figured she was just an unwilling participant. It's like they probably got something holding over her, and so she was kind of like, okay, yeah, stick close with these people and keep tabs on it. If they get too close, wipe their mind or tell them to forget.
Yeah,
because she was pretty much literally in bed with all of them.
Pretty much. We got a super chat here from Naruto, $5 super chat. Thank you for all the support today, Naruto. What if Luke went through the same program as Sam and it was more successful than Sam?
It didn't come at the last minute start to break down.
Maybe, but I think the point of God U and the woods is the ones that are controllable go to God U, and the ones who are uncontrollable go to the woods. So I think that if Luke was conditioned, it was probably done in the school, because he'd been there for a while. Remember, he was all over the place there. So I don't know if he would have been completely downstairs in the woods if they were able to like make him this star. You know what I mean? So it's possible, but I don't know if he went through the same program. But I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but the school dorms are basically the same rooms that are in the woods. Like they look more like regular dorm rooms, but they're made of that same like concrete reinforced material. Because when Andre went to confront Rufus, he used his powers to close the metal gates on the door and the windows. So I think the school is just that and probably just because a bunch of rowdy college age kids with superpowers. So yeah, you may want to have that building to reinforced. But what I mean is, I think it's like that probably in the woods as well. All those rooms are the same. They probably have doors that lock and everything. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I don't think it was the same program. Do I think he went through some conditioning? Absolutely. Do I think he went through the same program as Sam? Probably not. I think the people that are down in the woods are probably kept there. They don't go anywhere. And I don't know. Maybe they were both vetted through the woods, and Luke was considered to be a viable replacement for Homelander.
It kind of gives me the whole late Lao guy thing from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I want to see a puppet version of Homelander.
A cartoon version of Soldier Boy. He has when Black Noir was having his hallucinations.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So anyway, I enjoyed this episode. I will say this: I do feel like that the boys' universe is expanding, and I'm really enjoying where it's going.
Oh yeah,
and how this is going to tie into the next season, because they did say this is going to lead directly into season 4 of the boys.
Yeah, I think they said they're filming season 4 already.
Probably,
and I think season 2 of Gen V already got renewed.
Right. So I'm excited to see where that's going to go. But until that happens, we have Invincible, because that'll be coming on soon. That'll be the bridge gap between
within like 3 weeks.
Yeah, pretty exciting. So enjoying Gen V, really happy. Sad to know that we are over the halfway mark of the season, and we got to be wrapping everything up, because I think this has been a really interesting trip into the expanding the universe of the boys, and maybe we'll get more boys spinoff at this point. I wouldn't be surprised.
Exactly. One where they had something like, not What If, but just like a whole series of different like not short stories, but just
it was animated.
Because I remember one in the animation they had Huey look like how he did in the comics, which it actually looked like Simon Pegg, which plays his dad. So being that he was way too old to play Huey at the
Do you think Homelander knows about? No, I don't think Homelander knows about the woods. If he did, he would have already gone in and destroyed it.
He would destroy that place. Yeah, you trying to control us?
Yeah. I have not watched it yet. I've had too much going on this weekend, but it is on my list of things to watch. I will be doing videos about it probably next week once I get done with the episodes. We'll see where it goes.
The only DC show I actually watched was Peacemaker.
I can't wait for that to come back. Season 12 is going to be really good. So anyway, that's where we're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. We had a lot of fun, a lot of things to talk about. If you're watching this on playback and there was a segment missing with the Invincible trailer, then be here live next time. That's all I can really say. Thank you so much to everybody who participated in the chat, all the Team Airrick members and all the Airrickverse people. If you want to check out Omega Well Tall, feel free to go down in the comment section. There's a link to his channel and info down there, so you can go over and check out all of his stuff. And you guys know where to find me. I'm here pretty much all the time, so it's my channel. Where else am I going to be? Anyway, we're out of here. Thanks everybody. Have a great weekend, and see you next time. Bye.
Later.